everyone, and welcome to the Time to Cook Club Advanced and to your online class. So today we're going to be making mince pie and marzipan swirl. So hopefully if you're joining me today, you have all of your ingredients weighed out, measured and ready to go, and also the equipment from the equipment list. So let's make a start. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go and preheat the oven to either gas mark 6 or 200 degrees or 180 degrees if you're using a fan oven. This will make sure that the oven is at the perfect temperature when we're ready to pop our bakes into it. The next thing we need to do is we need to prepare our cake tin. And today I'm using an 8-inch loose bottomed round cake tin. So what you need to do is you need to grease your tin with butter or margarine. So I've just popped some margarine onto some kitchen towel, and I'm just greasing the bottom, but also the sides too. And this is going to help to stop the swirl from sticking to the tin once it's been cooked. It's also going to make it a lot easier to get it out the tin. So you also need to line your tin with some non-stick baking paper. And all I did to measure out the circle for the non-stick baking paper is I popped my tin on top, drew around it and cut it out, okay? So then it is perfect size. And I'm just going to pop that in the bottom, pushing down gently so that the butter or the margarine that you've used to grease your tin acts a little bit like glue to keep the non-stick baking paper down. So now we're ready to start with our bake. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pop our self-raising flour into our bowl, but we're going to sieve it in first to remove any lumps. Okay, so we're just going to tip the flour into the sieve, like so. And then, using a spoon, we're just going to gently stir the flour through the sieve, okay? So you can see it coming out into the bowl. This is going to add air to your bake, but it's also going to get rid of any lumps. We also need to add half a teaspoon of baking powder. So now what you're going to do is with a spoon, you're just going to stir those two ingredients together, okay, so that they're well combined. Okay, so now it's time for us to add our margarine, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to rub it in using our fingertips, okay? So you can break the margarine up into smaller bits first with your fingers, okay? And then you're going to, like I said, rub the fat into the flour. And to do this, you're using kind of a tickly finger motion, like so, okay? And now you want your hands a little bit raised, but not so high that all the ingredients are coming out of the bowl, okay? This is going to add a nice lightness to your bake, okay, as it's going to add in air. Also, the reason why we use our fingertips rather than the palms of our hands to squeeze the fats is because obviously the palms of your hands can get very warm, and we don't want the fats to all kind of melt together and to be really lumpy, okay? We want the mixture to resemble fine breadcrumbs. So keep rubbing in your margarine into your flour, and every now and again you can shake your bowl, okay, and that's going to bring the bigger lumps to the top so you know what you need to still work on. So join me back here when you've rubbed in all the fat into your flour and you've washed your hands, and we can continue with our bake together. Welcome back, guys. So hopefully by now you have rubbed your fat or your margarine into your flour and baking powder mixture. So we're now going to add in the sugar, and we're also going to grate our lemon zest. Now the zest of the lemon is just basically the skin of the lemon, okay? So we're going to grab our grater and gently stroke the lemon over the grater, okay? Keep turning the lemon around so that you're grating all of the skin of the lemon. You'll know which bits you've already grated because there'll be a slightly lighter yellow colour, okay? So just keep going until you have grated all the zest of your lemon. Obviously, please do be careful with the grater that you don't grate your fingers. and I'll see you back here in just a minute. Okay, so once you've grated the zest of the lemon, you're then going to use a spoon to just stir in the sugar and the lemon zest, like so. Okay, so now what you need to do is you need to get your vanilla extract and you need to measure it out. So we're using half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, and add it to your milk. And then we're going to pour the milk and the vanilla extract straight into our mixture, like so. And we're going to stir really well to blend all of those ingredients together. It's going to kind of form a dough. So you'll see that the mixture will start to come together and your bowl will start to look a lot cleaner. Okay, so once your dough starts to join together, what you're going to do is you're going to scrape the mixture off of your spoon, like so. And you're then going to get your hand and you're going to squeeze the mixture together to form a ball, okay? Now when you've made a ball of dough, you're going to get some dusting flour and sprinkle it onto your work surface, like so. This will just stop the dough from sticking, okay? So you're going to get your dough out. As you can see, my bowl looks pretty clean, okay? And then you're just going to kind of knead your dough just a couple of times on your board, okay? Before making it into like a ball shape. Now you're going to cut your dough in half, okay? So you have two portions of dough, and working with one piece of the dough to start with, we're going to roll the dough into a sausage shape. So you want your dough to be in one long sausage shape, about 50 centimetres long, okay? So keep rolling it, and if you need to, obviously you add more flour, okay? But it needs to be very long and thin. And might be a good idea to have a ruler just to check the measurements, okay? So I still need, that's 30 centimetres, and I still need about another 20 centimetres on top of that. So it needs to be 50 centimetres or 20 inches long by 2.5 inches or 7 centimetres wide, okay? So join me back here when you've rolled your first piece of dough into those dimensions, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so once you've rolled out your first piece of dough, you're going to do exactly the same for your second piece of dough in exactly the same dimensions. So join me back here when you've done that with the second piece of dough, and we can continue with our bake together. Welcome back. So hopefully by now you have rolled your two balls of dough into the same length strips. So now we're ready to kind of do the same with the marzipan. So with your marzipan, you're just going to chop it in half. If it's not in a ball already, roll it into a ball if that's easiest, and then chop it in half so you get two pieces the same size. And then again, you're going to roll the marzipan into the same length strip as your dough, okay? And you're going to do that with both pieces of marzipan. So join me back here when you've rolled out your marzipan into two long, thin sausage shapes, the same length as your strips of dough, and we will continue to. What you need to do once you've rolled out your marzipan is you pop that to one side. You then get some mincemeat. Remember, you're going to be using about 1/3 of a jar, and with the back of your spoon you're going to smooth down the mincemeat. So you're spooning it on and then smoothing it down all over the top of both of your strips. So join me back here when you've done that job, and we can continue with our bake together. So now what you need to do is you need to get your sausage shape of marzipan, okay? And you're going to dust some icing sugar onto your work surface to stop the marzipan from sticking. You're also going to dust icing sugar onto your rolling pin to stop the marzipan from sticking to your rolling pin. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to roll out the marzipan, okay? so that it's flat, like so. And you might need to keep putting icing sugar onto your rolling pin, okay? So you're just aiming to make the marzipan a little bit wider so that it sits flat on top of your dough. And once you've rolled it out, you can carefully pick it up. Don't worry if it comes off into two, that's fine. You can patch it back up when it's on your dough. Okay. Like so. And then you're going to do exactly the same with the other piece of marzipan and the other piece of dough. So join me back here when you have your two pieces of dough that have been covered in mincemeat and then topped with marzipan, and we can continue with our bake together. Okay, welcome back guys. So hopefully by now you have your two strips of dough topped with mincemeat and marzipan. So it's now time for us to roll them up to create our swirl. So what you're going to do is starting with your first strip, you're going to roll it up tight as if you were rolling up a Swiss roll, okay? So you keep rolling like so. And when you get to the end, you're going to bring that swirl down to join this next strip. But you just need to neaten it off by cutting off the last bit of the second strip of dough, okay? And then you can kind of mold it on and just keep rolling, okay? So it's going to be one long, continuous strip, really, like so, okay? And once you've rolled up your swirl, you now need to get your cake tin that you prepared earlier. You're going to pop that swirl into your cake tin like so, and you're just going to press it down very lightly so that it fills more of your tin, okay? And you keep working the dough, okay, by pushing it down gently until it reaches the edge of your tin, okay? So you can press it down using the palm of your hand, like so. Okay, so that's what mine looks like. So the base of your tin should be covered by the swirl. So now it's time for you to pop your swirl into the oven to cook for between 20 to 25 minutes. So you'll know when it's done because it will be nice and golden brown on top, and we're looking for kind of like a scone texture. So once your swirl has cooked in the oven, then carefully remove the tin from the oven and allow your swirl to cool in the tin for a few minutes. So join me back here once your swirl has cooked and has been cooling for about 5 minutes, and we'll ice our swirls together. See you in a bit, guys. Okay, welcome back. So hopefully by now your marzipan and mince pie swirl has been cooling, and then you need to remove it from the tin and place it onto a cooling rack. So we're now ready to add our icing onto the top of our swirl. So I've just mixed up some glacier icing by adding a small amount of water to my icing sugar and then giving it a good stir with a spoon to combine the two ingredients. So it needs to be quite thick and not too runny, but not too thick that you can't drizzle it on, if that makes sense. Now with a spoon or I'm using a spatula, I'm just going to drizzle the icing over the top of my swirl like so. Okay, and you can obviously use as much or as little as you want. It's completely up to you. It's looking really, really delicious. Okay, so I think that's all the icing I'm going to add, but like I say, you can add as much as this as you want. And you're just going to sprinkle on some flaked almonds as a finishing touch. And there you have your mince pie and marzipan swirl. I'm sure you'll agree it looks absolutely delicious. So I really hope you've enjoyed joining me for today's bake, but more importantly, I hope you enjoy eating it and sharing it with your family. I really look forward to seeing you again next week when we're making another delicious bake from our Festive Bakes menu. I hope that you are already feeling fabulously festive and super excited about Christmas. It's so close now. Enjoy all the festive bakes, and I'm sure that your house will be smelling absolutely amazing before Christmas. Have a lovely rest of your week, and we'll see you soon. Bye guys.